Unspoken Issues.
The next book that we're going to discuss both landed on this as a number 5, okay? And the only reason we're going to do this one first is because the other one you had higher than I did, and I'm going to give you the nod, and we'll do that. We'll do that one next. Like I said, we're going to start out at the bottom and work our way to our favorite. So let's talk about Cyberforce number 1. This comes out October 9th, 1992.
I didn't get Youngblood number 1 right off the bat. I got it later. I think all of the others I picked up as they were being released. So
okay.
I'm trying to think. I think I had every miniseries and all the complete miniseries. You know, Spawn was an ongoing from the beginning, but all the other Image founders did miniseries to start with. And I had, I think, a complete run of Youngblood, Wildcat, Cyberforce, Shadowhawk, and Dragon. So,
Dang, nice.
So yeah, I was keeping up on all of them.
Okay, all right.
That they became my focus pretty much once the Image books started coming out. Plus, like, if they were all coming out on a regular schedule, it probably would have been harder to keep up. But
right.
You know, when 4 issues of Youngblood come out over 8 months, you know, it's not as hard to keep up with it.
No.
You know, you can still get Darkhawk and Sleepwalker and Amazing Spider-Man and Youngblood or whatever. So I picked up Cyberforce, you know, from its early day.
Okay, Marc Silvestri, did you have any experience with Marc there prior to this this right here?
I know I had issue 50 of Wolverine, which was the die cut yellow cover with the 3 claw slash marks through the cover. That might have been the only Silvestri book I'd ever read up to that point, because I wasn't really reading Wolverine regularly. That might have been the only issue of the solo Wolverine book that I'd ever bought to that point.
Okay. We're going to be covering X-Men and the mutant X-over, if you will, of Inferno at some point, and Silvestri was a heavy part of that, and that was where I recognized his artwork for as it stood out from the rest of everybody else.
You know, I really like his art. You know, Liefeld really touts it on the podcast of his that Silvestri is the best artist of all the Image founders. And I've just never understood that, because I've heard that for years, like not just on the podcast, but in interviews he's done. And I've heard other people refer to Silvestri as like the best draftsman and all that. Like, I don't really understand. I'm not an art critic.
That's what I was going to say. It's probably
I just know what I like, and you know, I can tell when somebody's, you know, has good storytelling or whatever, and can tell a coherent story. But and I like Silvestri. I just don't like his style as much as I almost think of him as like a poor man's Jim Lee.
Okay.
I feel like they have kind of similar style.
Not a bad person to be a poor man of, by the way.
But I just prefer the cleaner, you know, pencils of like a Jim Lee to Silvestri.
So yeah, again, this hits the shelves October 9th, 1992. The title of the story is The 10 Men of War, Part 1. And this is Cyberforce number 1, written by Eric Serge Silvestri, according to Mike's Amazing World of Comics. Marc Silvestri on the art, lettered by Michael Heisler, and colored by Joe Chiodo. I'm sure I pronounced it wrong either way. In inner city New York, a young girl by the name of Velocity runs at super speed for her life from a high-tech team of cyber data trackers called COPS. COPS. It stands for something. It's not the actual police. But little do they know, Ripclaw watches from atop the surrounding buildings. Ripclaw calls into his headquarters at Cybertech, letting them know of the situation. As he makes his way down to the alley, he saves the young girl from capture until the group's leader, Ballistic, appears, stalling their escape. As additional support flies in for Ripclaw, causing Ballistic to retreat, much to the dismay of Cyberdata's leader, Mother. In a small dream sequence, we learn how Velocity was abused as a young child, and she wakens to find herself in a facility with some friendly faces, namely 2 young boys named Chip and Timmy. When the perimeter alarm goes off, a wall is blown out, and Ballistic has again tracked Velocity, and this time she has brought reinforcements. Elsewhere, the 4-armed leader of Cyberforce, I think his name's Stryker, isn't it? Is it Stryker?
Yes.
Okay. The 4-armed leader of Cyberforce, Stryker, is playing security detail to a mutant senator and foils an assassination plot. As one of the assassins try to escape, he runs into another member of Cyberforce, Cyblade, who dispatches him quickly. The remaining terrorists try to escape by car, but the behemoth Impact charges it and shreds the vehicle. Yeah, I told this story kind of out of order. Basically, the whole assassination thing is going on while this is kind of going on as well. So there you go. That is Cyberforce #1. And I want to point something out that kind of stuck out of me in this issue. The use of the word mutant.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up as well.
Right.
This is something that always stuck out to me and that I've always remembered. In all these early 90s comics, there were these ads for American Comics Entertainment where you could order comics.
Yep. And
so let me find an example of it. And looking in the Savage Dragon #1, there's an ad on one of these. This is actually Entertainment This Month, their order page.
Okay.
And their little blurb for Wildcats. Created, written, and penciled by Jim Lee, Wildcats #1 features the first appearance of a powerful new team of mutant heroes from Image Comics.
Ooh, okay.
And then the Brigade blurb, all new radical group of mutant superheroes by Rob Liefeld from Image Comics.
Interesting. That is cashing in. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not listed in this one, but the one of the other pages I've seen for the blurb for Youngblood is a new team of mutant heroes from Rob Liefeld. So I don't think Image was putting these together. I think this is what Entertainment This Month is putting their own blurbs together, and they know mutant X-Men.
Right.
That's the hot thing. These are team books. We're just going to say they're mutant.
At one point, Spider-Man,
the non-mutant hero.
Yes, he had to put that on the front cover because the word mutant must really be striking a chord with people then. Very
but in Cyberforce, that's part of the story.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly.
This is basically straight out of, Days of Future Past or whatever. Like there's a mutant politician. They're trying to assassinate him because they hate the muties. They don't say that in the book, but it's lifted straight out of the X-Men mythos, basically.
You could see Cyberforce being easily in the X-Men universe. Mm-hmm. What'd you think of the issue, man? What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna look at my rankings again.
We both went #5, so I think there's a point where we're going to have a rather disparity, a rather big difference where you went #6 and I went a little bit higher.
Okay. So yeah, it was my second to least favorite, but I love all these books. So yes, I like this one. This is the only Image founder #1 that's got a double page cover. Like the back cover is is part of the Image. So if you open it up, you can see the full thing, and it's like a movie poster, basically. Really cool Image, no pun intended. Yeah. My copy still has the Image Comics #0 coupon.
Oh, look out, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, it seems like, a lot of these guys, Youngblood is a concept Liefeld had from years before. He pitched, I think, to DC when he got hired there. He pitched a Youngblood. Like he did like a 3 or 5 or 6 page Youngblood as like a tryout, basically to get him in the door or whatever. Spawn is a character that McFarlane had designed in college, I believe. Eric Larson came up with Savage Dragon when he was a little kid.
Yeah, he was.
But I don't know about Valentino and Portiseo, but it seems like Silvestri and Jim Lee, they wanted to jump into this Image thing. They were kind of felt like that they were going to be more successful on their own or whatever, but I don't know that they necessarily had like concepts waiting. Like they had to probably kind of wing it. So it seems like Silvestri was like, hey, people love cyborgs. How about a whole team of cyborgs?
Right.
They're all cyborgs.
People like multiple arms, but how about 3 arms on one side?
Right. Right. Silvestri and Lee both have a Wolverine archetype, kind of, Ripclaw and Warblade are kind of the same. They even do a crossover later, Killer Instinct, where they have a past together. That crossover is it shows, like, to me, this is just personal taste, I guess, because if all the other Image guys think Silvestri's the best, they're probably right. But when I read that crossover, I'm going from an issue by Jim Lee And then the next issue is Silvestri, and I'm like, man, I wish Lee was doing the whole thing. That's just kind of how I feel reading that crossover, which is a cool story. But yeah, this is a cool book, and I love having Marlowe show up on the second page. I think
that's who that is. I knew it. I knew that was Jacob Marlowe laying there in the alleyway, and I assume this has got to be happening right before before the issue, or excuse me, before the events that happen in Wildcats, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, when we get to covering the Wildcats issue, there's a reference to this incident. Marlowe thinks it's a dream or something. He makes a reference to it. This issue came out 4 or 5 months later or whatever. But yeah, that was cool to see him pop up in there. And then the big 2-page spread of Ripclaw jumping down from the building, the lightning going off behind him. I mean, that's a poster right there. That's an amazing image. It's fun. The art is cool. The characters are interesting, at least visually. It's not an origin issue, but it's just kind of like, we're introducing all these characters. We're giving them some action to do. Ripclaw is tearing through some Cyborg or some shock trooper or whatever these guys are. Impact is tearing through a van, which is a pretty amazing image as well. And just kind of gives every character a chance to showcase their stuff. Fun comic.
Team books are probably pretty tough to get a first issue out and make it feel really, really impactful. Like, you probably have to, just like you said, you've got to cover everybody. Unless you want to do one person, like Wetworks, like I said, would have been probably been in the bottom half of my list, because it's just like, hey, we get the whole team, which there's a lot of people on that freaking team, but you get the whole team, but you don't, some possible ideas into what their personality is, but that's it. Cyberforce is sort of the same way, but you've got enough here that definitely sets it apart from Wetworks. Not all the soldiers are golden. No, you've got one guy has 3 freaking arms on one side of his body. The other, the other one is the freaking size of a sedan. He's huge. And so everybody's got this great, unique look to them. You get, just like you said, your moments with these members of the team. Our villain, Ballistic, is pretty cool. I mean, she looks pretty neat. You don't get a whole lot about her other than she's just, and I say villain because that's kind of the way she's spun here. But I swear she becomes a member. She becomes a member of Cyberforce.
Yeah, I think she's at least on strike in the Strikeforce spinoff book.
Okay, maybe
maybe she's on both. Maybe only Cyberforce. I can't remember. But yeah, she becomes at least an ally, if not an outright hero, at some point.
Okay, all right. So yeah, the members of Cyberforce. I should probably go ahead and just kind of run those down here real quick.
I guess the leader is Heatwave, who he can fly and he can shoot these plasma blasts.
He's the guy that shows up and kind of like helps Ripclaw out, right?
Yeah, I think most people think Stryker is the leader, but I don't.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think Heatwave is the leader, the field leader or whatever. I could be wrong because it's been a while since I read these. But yeah, Stryker is like a soldier. He's got 2 extra cybernetic arms, both on the right side for some reason. So he's got 3 arms on one side and just 1 arm on the other. And Impact is the bruiser. The big, every team's got to have a big bruiser.
Put a pin in Impact real quick. I just want to talk about, I mean, I'm glad that Stryker is a cyborg, because the back problems this guy would have with 3 arms on one side of his body would be pretty bad. So he's
those are super lightweight titanium.
I should have. You don't even know they're there.
No, yeah.
All right, Impact. Go ahead.
Maybe it's because he uses the word dude in this issue, but I for some reason I'm thinking he's sort of like a surfer guy.
All right.
Maybe I'm just drawing conclusions because of that. But he's got the long hair, and he's just the big strong guy. He has a face off with Pitt later in this miniseries.
Ooh, nice.
Doesn't go great for him. Cyblade is the female character.
Oh, she is. I mean, my goodness. If you cannot draw parallels, thank you very much. If you can't draw a line to Psylocke with this girl, right. I don't know what you can do here.
And then Ripclaw is kind of I would say he's probably the most popular character. He's the one that got an action figure, which is
oh, nice.
During the 10th anniversary, when they did the 10th anniversary figures, they did one for Spawn, Savage Dragon, Shadowhawk, and Ripclaw. He's I think he's Native American. Each of his fingers are these like jagged blades, and they kind of they can kind of grow longer, so he can reach it. Kind of like Lady Deathstrike would be comp for him, I guess, as far as the claws.
Yeah, it says that. So I'm on imagecomics.fandom.com here. Claws. Ripclaw can stretch his fingernails until they are transformed into 12-inch long claws. So hold on a second.
Those are his fingernails?
That thing, right. Those are his fingers.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming from the blades
maybe
start where the knuckles of your fist end. Yeah.
Good this is discussed in this website. Because the first thing you're going to think to yourself is like, how does Ripclaw function with fingernail or fingers that are blades? Ripclaw exhibited the ability to manipulate his claws into normal human shape, then back into claws. But this has rarely been replicated in later issues. So apparently that happened, it says, in issue number 19 of the second series. That took a while. Wow. Took a while to get there. But, I mean, he's a freaking cool-looking character.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Much like I tend to more believe Warblade of Wildcats and his hand issues than Ripclaw running around with thingy knives. So
yeah, Warblade is more of a T-1000 style, like liquid metal look. Yeah,
I can absolutely understand that. But Ripclaw, as cool as he was, his hands always threw me off. Didn't know, but again, Image Comics. I don't care. It's Ripclaw, baby. Ripclaw.
I believe the villain is Mother May I think that's her full name.
Okay.
Unless I'm confusing her with somebody else. But she has got a very striking look too. She's blue skin.
That is
mega cleavage, headdress. Just a really interesting visual.
Mystique was the first person that I thought of when I saw her. I was like,
the eye, like a jewel in her forehead, similar to Mystique's white diamond. Yeah.
Some people are probably going to be like, what's he doing ripping off all these?
Well, the accusations of plagiarism were flying left and right when these books were coming out.
I'm sure of it. They were getting my money though. So
you got a panel of the issue?
I will not take the 2-page spread of Ripclaw jumping down from the.
I won't either, but only because it's too easy. It's definitely the best image in the book. Yeah.
Yeah, very. You know what? I'll take Impact going through the van.
Yeah, that would be my second choice too. That's awesome because it's a progression. There's 3 panels where I'm trying to find it now. Yeah, the van is kind of is kind of going along, and Impact is charging forward. So it's like a 3-panel progression to the giant third panel where he's just completely tearing through the van. That's amazing. Yeah,
it's good stuff.
I'll go with Stryker saving Bluestone.
Okay.
And he's got 2 of his 3 arms on the right side are blowing away the assassin while his left arm is pushing Bluestone out of the way. Very cool image. Guns a-blazing. So
I like it.
Thanks for joining us. Unspoken Issues is part of the UnspokenDecade.com, the home for 90s comics, blogs, and podcasts. Unspoken Issues also has a Facebook group you can join if you are interested. Just search the Unspoken Issues podcast and request to join. All of this would not be possible without W2Mnet.com and the Rattleitch Broadcasting Network, so make sure to seek them out for more podcasts. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please feel free to share, and we look forward to entertaining you again soon.